Hi guys, welcome to the Library Studios. In this session, we're going to be talking about an Android chart system. We'll be creating the vertical bar chart, and we'll be using the library from PhilJay called the Android Chart Library. This library has the capability of creating a line chart, a bar chart, both horizontal and vertical, the candlestick, a radar chart, pie chart, and so on. We're actually going to be talking about how to create a vertical bar chart in Android. I'll be heading straight to Android Studio where I have the source code, and I'll be explaining in details how to do this. It's very simple to achieve this. In the app Gradle, which is the build Gradle, in your dependencies you need to add the PhilJay MP Android chart version 2.2.4. We have higher versions that you could actually add up. This from its library, from the GitHub library. You have the setup, you sync Gradle, and you're ready to go. You add the app compact. If you want to use a recycler view, you add that, the card view, the support design, and so on. Right there in the layout file, I have the activity main, which is basically the only layout we're going to be using here. Let me give a preview of how it actually looks. I'm actually trying to create an horizontal bar, but let me take that off. Let's concentrate majorly on the bar chart. So I'll make this a match parent. Cool. We have the bar chart tag. You have to specify it this way, calling the com.github myphil charting charts bar chart. Add an ID to it. Layout with an height, match parent for the both, and you could actually set that in a coordinator layout, a constraint layout, relative layout, and so on. This is right sitting in a relative layout, so you have that set up. Adding straight to the Java class, we only have the main activity to handle the activity main XML. Extend app compact. You also set the content view, so the layout, the activity main. And now let's get to look at how we're going to actually specify the legend, the X and Y axis of the chart. We call the bar chart from the library, create an object from that, point down to the ID, which is the bar chart we have right sitting in the XML I showed you earlier. After that, we need the bar entry, and we're going to also need the labels. The bar entry is actually going to be the X coordinate, while the label is going to be the Y coordinate, which is actually going to specify each value for the X coordinates. Now you instantiate the bar entry generic array list. You give an object called entries, and from these entries you could add the different values you want to specify for the bar entry. It's actually a float data type, which you could actually specify from 1 to any amount, and you could actually add some other figures to it. So we're going to start from the first index of an array, which is 0 down to 11. So if you should count this, it's going to be 12, depicting from January to December. So 8 to 5 to 20, that's the values, 15, 19. So if you actually are getting data probably from the cloud, you could actually use this as well, or you're using an API to actually generate the values. So you could just pass in its appropriate value right there from what you've generated, and you add them up to the array list called entries. That's set up. So it's quite easy for you doing this. So you have that these are coded. So this is for the 12th month, and let's get to look at the entries. We have the data sets, calling the bar data set, where you pass in the entries, and the cells, that are just the cells that you're actually looking at. And now let's get to look at the labels. And the labels, you need to also instantiate the array list. This is an array list of string, not an array list of bar entry. So you have that set up. Now you call the object called labels, which you're going to add up to the list from January to December so you have it added down to the array list of string. So that set up your labels. Now let's get to look at how we're going to actually tie these two together. We're going to tie the bar data set with the labels. Now you still need to call on the bar data where you get the data object. You instantiate the bar data this time, just like the way you instantiated the bar data set, and you need to pass into parameters the labels, which is the bunch of array list of the labels which you've added from January to December, and the bar data set, which you will also specify the values you are pointing. For example, once you're talking about the first index 0, which is here, we're talking about January, goes on to February 1, we're talking about February. So for March, we're going to be having 5 as its value. So that's just what we're trying to match together using this bar data class and binding the labels and the bar data set. Now you still call on your bar chart, which you've actually specified right there up there. And what you're going to do with the bar chart, you need to make it visible. You set the data down to the value you got from the bar data. You set the data and the list of labels into the chart. You could also set the description. What kind of description are you trying to give the bar? Let's say expenditure for the year 2018. So that's actually going to be the description of the bar, of the vertical bar chart we're trying to set up here. And now you could also set colors to the data set. The data set is actually the values we're having, which are going to be in bars. The value for January, probably 10, for February, 12. So they're actually going to be in bars. So we could set colors to that. You could actually make that colorful, not just empty. So that's the essence of calling the color templates, pointing at the different colors available. So it's actually going to tweak on different colors, probably from blue to pink, from orange to red to yellow, and so on. Now we want to animate from the white, so it's actually going to swivel from the bottom. So once you launch the application, the bar will kind of grow up from the bottom down to the values which was specified on. So it's actually going to grow from the bottom to the value. So that's the animation we're adding here, the animate Y, in 5 seconds. So it's actually going to do that, and it will grow up each corresponding values of the bar entry will actually grow up to its value. So you have that setup. Cool. This is quite simple, short, and straight down to the point, where you could actually use in any of your metrics, any of your let's say applications that deals with expenditures, or that deals with monetary values, which you actually want to make savings, or so on, or that deals with forecast, where you're trying to forecast what will happen within a period of time, which you like to use a chart, probably a bar chart, a candlestick, the line chart, and so on. So this is a vivid example of how to set up a vertical bar chart in Android. I'll be showing you the screencast. I'll actually be using an emulator so we could see it clearly, and from there I will be sharing the source code, so you could actually get up the source code and use it in the course of the application. I will actually be showing you a screencast of this. You could use an emulator, and you could use a real device, anyone you feel cool with. Thank you guys for hanging out with me throughout this tutorial, and please don't forget to strike on the red button, on the subscribe button. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a blessed time. Bye bye for now.